And I have with me, I'm Jose Vijay, Director of Finance. I have with me Mr. Rajesh Gopalakrishnan, General Manager Business Development, Mr. Shibu John, DGM Finance, and Mr. Shyam, Company Secretary. Hope all of you have seen our auditor limited reviewed results, which has been published, and also the PowerPoint presentation uploaded on the website today. I'll just give a brief on the performance of the last quarter. As expected, the COVID pandemic has affected the performance of CSL adversely, but we were able to report a PAT of around 43 crores as against 120 crores reported last quarter, despite various constraints. And turnover for the quarter was 332 crores as against 737 crores reported last year same period, a drop of around 55%, and PBT of around 58 crores as against 186 crores reported last year same period, a drop of 69%, and PAT of around 43 crores, a drop of around 65%. The main constraints faced by the yard, despite resuming operations on 6th May, were we were having 100% production loss for 35 days in Q1. Then, while the operations resumed on 6th May, we could operate only with 50% strength, complying social distance and other safety norms. And there were non-availability of materials and equipment both in shipbuilding and ship repair front, since all the suppliers have invoked force majeure clauses, and our Mumbai ship repair unit was fully closed during the entire Q1. And certain in the ship repair area, certain confirmed ship repair orders planned for Q1 were either cancelled or deferred. In certain cases, the ship owners reduced the scope of work due to liquidity issues, and international and interstate travel restrictions still continues. Hence, there is a non-availability of service and OEM engineers to do critical commissioning and other works. These factors have adversely affected the financial performance of the company in Q1. In the CapEx front also, both our ISRF and dry dock projects have been impacted adversely. Both the projects were having substantial portion of civil work, and these works were being carried out by a large number of migrant laborers in 2 shifts. Consequent to outbreak of COVID, all the migrant laborers went back to their native places. While we were able to bring back certain number of laborers during the month of July, some of them again went back now, since the number of cases in Kerala is increasing now. Further, due to the night curfew imposed by the local administration, no works are happening during the night also. And there also we face difficulties with non-availability of materials and equipment. So on account of the above factors, the physical progress on both CapEx projects are very low during Q1. Despite the above, the company is taking all efforts to ramp up the operations in both shipbuilding and ship repair through various proactive measures. The company has already introduced 2-shift system for employees on a permanent basis. Now the company is working from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. Similarly, various cost-cutting measures are being introduced to ensure liquidity and to improve productivity. We have also resumed our operations in Mumbai ship repair unit. Therefore, you can see improvement in financial performance from Q2 onwards. With this, I conclude my opening remarks and will now take your questions one by one.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The first question is from the line of Ramesh Tamani from Ramesh Damani Finance. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. One second, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
We can hear you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I just have a couple of quick questions for you. The first question is I want to understand your ship repair business. I understand this was a tough quarter, but if you look at over a 5-10 year view, what do you expect the ship repair business to grow once we assume we come back out of CV19? Over a 10-year period, what is the compound annual growth rate that we can foresee in the ship repair business, considering you're putting so much capex and so much effort on this business and the fact that it's almost a monopolistic business for you? I want to understand what is the growth trajectory. Secondly, I want to know how this Atmanirbhar policy on the defense, particularly what the defense minister laid down, how does that help our company? Can you give us some pointers as to how it will help you? And last, but very small question, you have an order book currently of about 14,000 crores. I'm wondering if you are a bit worried that the order book is too small, considering there's a cycle for this business, maybe 6 or 7 years. So would you just comment on these three questions, please?
In ship repair, we have been growing around 20 to 25% every year for the last 3 years. And considering the additional capacity being introduced in Mumbai, Calcutta and all, we assume that we will grow at the same 20 to 25% level every year. And in 3 years, we will reach around 1,200 crores in turnover. That's what we expect.
And beyond that, your visibility, do you think you can grow this business for 10 years at 20% maybe?
14% would be difficult to sustain, but around 12% we can sustain the growth.
Over a decade or so, 12-15% over a decade or so?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And regarding the Atmanirbhar,
yeah, Mr. Damani, this is Rajesh here. Atmanirbhar actually, definitely there is bound to be a little bit of impact on that. But actually what CSL is right now thinking of is, we want to actually tap into the international business, because a new dry dock which is coming up is a big dry dock, 300 meter, where we want to bring in the bigger commercial vessels. So for on the ship repair side, while Atmanirbhar will definitely fill up the upcoming infrastructure and the capacities that we're building up, our focus would be to bring in the bigger, larger commercial vessels from the international liners, so that that would be big business that we're looking at, and that is where we want to actually expand our marketing into the international strongholds like Singapore and Hong Kong, where you have big shipping companies predominantly managed by Indians, and we want to tap into the vessels that take the sea route past international sea route past India.
Right.
Yeah, that is one area that we have been planning, and we are planning to move ahead. Atmanirbhar definitely, because all captive projects definitely will now have to be done in India, so that is going to have an impact as well. Sure.
Okay. And the third one is, you're concerned that the size of the order book is too small in an industry that looks for 6-7 year projects. You only have visibility for 3 years.
Total overall book. Yeah, appreciate that, because our target is also like if you look at it, our based on our current revenues, 3 to 4 years is what we should always have in the order book. So that is why we are not letting go of any of the major defense tenders that are coming in. We need a couple of big orders as well to make sure that we are safe on that side, and we are going after these big high value tenders and things that are coming up. We are not missing out on any of those. So that definitely is on our minds, while we also feel that all these additional capacities will also help us in ramping up the order book, because again coming back to the big dock, while I speak, we would also be wanting to target major conversions and upgradations of offshore and vessels and rigs, which again are high value. So So again, there are certain conversions. So these are areas which we have in mind, and we should actually be able to tap into those few areas, so that, like you said, comfort is always 3 to 4 years ahead compared to the turnover that we have each year. So even our targeted, the targets that we have for the business development group is worked out accordingly.
Right. But is the order pipeline robust enough that you are expecting some bigger orders over the next few years?
Hopefully, because as I said, there are a lot of projects that we're bidding for, and I'm sure that, it's not that we'll end up losing everything. So definitely we would, all projects, of course, we go in and bid competitively and aggressively. But we are not a company that would go and do some harakiri. That's not the way we do it. But definitely, we would like to land a couple of major ones over the next, year or so.
Just on a follow-up, if you are addressing so aggressively in the ISRF and the dry dock facilities, and you mentioned you want to get international business, if you manage to secure that, can you grow at 20%, you think? Is it possible that you shape up the ship repair business at about 20%?
40% on top line?
20%. Yeah, on the top line. Yeah.
20. Yeah, I think we should be able to. Definitely. I heard it as 40. Sorry. Yeah.
No, 20% over the next 10 years. Say, can you compound at 20% over the next 10 years that business?
Might be. I mean, I might be asking for too much if I commit that now. But like DF was mentioning, we would aim for around 15, but 12 is what we always, sort of commit when we are on such calls with our investors.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jonas Bhutta from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Rajesh and Joe. Everyone at CFL are safe and healthy. So firstly, congratulations on a decent set of numbers given the challenges. So one comment that you made in the Q4 call was that Navy had sharply curtailed its budget starting April. So and that was likely to create some bit of stress on working capital. If you can highlight if there's been any improvement to that account, and has the Navy or the MOD now given you some bit of line of sight on cash flows during the year?
Yeah, Jonas. Now we have started receiving some money from Navy. The IAC around 900 crores they have released during Q1. That is as expected. And in the ship repair front also we have received some money, but the major chunk is yet to receive, but they have started releasing funds.
Okay. And so you do not expect, the working capital level of stress of working capital that you expected at the start of the year, or you think that is still?
No, we don't see we don't see any liquidity issue as of now. We can manage it, and we are constantly following with the Navy, and they are started releasing money in bits and pieces.
Sure. My second question, sir, was on if Rajesh can sort of comment on. The next gen missile vessels was made part of that list of 100 odd products or projects that the Ministry of Defence announced that they need to necessarily be made in India. So, what is that? That was always going to be the case. So there was no surprise element in that, right? That the next gen missile vessels will be made only in India, or does this sort of even warrant you to now completely make the components or source the components also from India? If you can elaborate.
No, I think
how the tenders will shape up, given the recent announcements by the MOD. Whether
I think Jonas, Jonas, you're right. All along, this project was actually what they call the IDDM, indigenously designed and developed in India. But having said that, there is a provision there also for a certain extent of foreign content to come in, because as you would appreciate, India doesn't right now manufacture the entire all the equipment or the systems that go on board such ships. So there's a provision, but like you said, there's no surprises there. This RFP was already there, but it's been included probably so that in future these are projects that we would India would like to do 100% of it in the country.
Got it. So has there been any movement during the quarter on this, or it's still the tender still remains in the RFP thing?
No, as regards the missile vessels, bid was already submitted. So we are just waiting for the next move from the Navy.
Okay. And so my last question, and then I'll come back in the queue, is, sir, if Joe sir can give us the breakup of the shipbuilding revenue into IAC, non-IAC, and then cost plus and fixed price.
Yeah. Shipbuilding total revenue from shipbuilding is 316 crores.
Right.
Out of that, IAC is 261, and other shipbuilding is 56. And out of 261 of IAC,
right,
cost plus part is 186 crores, and fixed price is 75.
Got it. Fine, sir. Thank you. This is helpful, and I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Swechha Jain from ANS Wealth. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Sir, I have few questions. One is just a follow-up question on the order book of 14,000 crores. Typically, in how many years can we assume this would be completed? And were there any new orders bidded for in Q1 FY21? Especially, there were some bids which the company was supposed to submit to Navy regarding the FMV and MPV vessels.
Yeah, the order book currently would suffice for around 3 years right now as we speak. And the bids which you have mentioned are actually, we had mentioned about bids going in for new generation offshore patrol vessels, then some multi-purpose vessels. So those, and there was one more which we were talking about. One second. Yeah, there was this NGMVs and the multi-purpose vessels and the offshore patrol vessels. So altogether, that's sort of 12,000 to 13,000 crores value of bids that are being submitted. So those are still in the process of being submitted.
Okay. And so from the current order book, will you be able to give us a breakup in terms of percentage as to what percentage is on cost plus basis and what percentage is on fixed price?
Cost plus is around 3,500 crores.
Cost plus is 3,500 crores. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, one second. Cost plus is 3,800.
Okay.
And fixed price is around 2,470.
2,470. Okay. And so just two more questions. If you can just help us with the cash position as on June 30th. And the EBITDA has kind of reduced to 25% in this quarter. So can we assume for this year or for next couple of quarters, we would maintain the EBITDA margin at 25% on an overall basis?
Yeah, the cash position as on 30th June is around 1,948 crores, 1,950 crores. And EBITDA, the 25% EBITDA is including other income. If you remove the EBITDA, other income from the EBITDA, our normal EBITDA is around 20 to 21%. But this year it may be around 19 to 20.
Okay. Yeah. That's it, sir, from my side. Thank you so much. Hello.
This is the operator, so we are not able to hear you.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Now it's audible.
It's audible.
Yeah. I think we had completed with that response. So maybe
Next question.
is there anything else?
No, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The next question is from the line of Harshit Kampani from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Thanks. So I have two questions. Firstly, in regards to the ban on the 101 import items, which areas, in sense corvettes or cargo vessels or fishing vessels, which areas can we see a big pickup in inflows? That's the first thing. And the second thing is that, given of more, indigenization that is going to happen in India, is it a fair understanding that in the long run, shipbuilding orders will be coming in at around 7.5% margins? Thank you.
Yeah. As regards your first question, basically this 101 list items on which India is planning to put this embargo is all defense related. So it doesn't really affect the other set of vessels like fishing vessels or whatever. This is predominantly there are around 11 to 12 type variants of defense vessels that have come into that list. I didn't get your second question. Can you just
So in the future, it's more of indigenization that's going to happen and more of make in India. Is it a fair understanding that as per the MOD's norms of giving orders at 7.5% margins, is it what that the shipbuilding margins in the long run can get 7.5% for the new orders we book?
See, actually the MOD doesn't really give earlier. Actually, long back, MOD had this method of cost plus contracts. Nowadays, it's all competitive tenders and fixed price contracts. So this 7.5% margin as a standard margin across contracts is not applicable even as we speak. So it's only in special cases where we have this cost plus provisions where you have that margin. Otherwise, it's the margin that you manage through a competitive bidding process, and that's what's been going on for all the current projects as well.
Okay, sure, thanks. And can I get the revenue for ASW corvettes and the existing backlog for that order?
See, the existing backlog is around 6,311 because so far we have not booked any revenue from ASW till Q1. So we may, from Q3 onwards, we may start booking revenue from ASW.
Okay, sure. Thanks. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Umesh Rawat from Yes Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good evening. I hope you and everyone I hope you and everyone at Cochin Shipyard are safe and healthy. So, sir, my first question pertains to ASW shallow watercraft order. So, as you said, we are starting booking. We will start booking revenue from that project in third quarter. So, do you see, sir, any delay happening on that front because of the non-availability of material or because of the travel restrictions which are in place right now, or because of some of the constraint that you have in terms of labor? So, any thought on that project?
As we speak, the project is going through the design and the planning phase, and so as such we are not expecting anything. Hoping by the time we get into the production, as DF was mentioning, if situation worldwide eases out and we are not having any major challenges on the material front, we shouldn't. Actually, we are not planning for any major delays on that project as of now.
Okay. So, second question on the export orders. You have received one order in the quarter. So just wanted to understand the 3 or 5 year horizon from the 3 or 5 year horizon period. What kind of potential or target we are seeing from the export market?
The export shipbuilding segment has been, very low over the last 5 to 6 years. Post 2008, it's not really picked up. It's almost a decade now, and it was just showing signs of picking up when we ran into this pandemic. But having said that, I think where we are also trying to focus nowadays is where there is more innovation and technology, and that is why this particular order which we picked up this quarter is extremely important for us. Value wise, it's 2 vessels for 106 crores, but 120 crores. But these are probably going to be the first autonomous, ro-ro vessels in the world, which means, vessels which can run without any operator on board or crew on board. So, in that sense, India getting a chance to do this is something really big for us and for the country as well. So, maybe going into the future and looking at the way things are changing, whether it is technology or, disruptions all over, probably technology is where we should focus on, and that's why we were very keen on taking this order. So and what helped us was the track record on earlier export orders that we had, because you would appreciate that during this COVID scenario, there was no way that the client could come and assess us physically, so it all happened remotely. So all our previous deliveries and track records and goodwill helped a lot. So right now as we speak, we have 2 orders for those 2 autonomous vessels, and there is an option for 2 more, which the owner will decide whether or not to exercise. We have given a window of around 6 months before he can take a decision. So what I was trying to say is, when you talk about exports, since the conventional export market is still down and out, and the recent situation, whether it is the pandemic or the overall business scenario, is not really going to help that market swing in towards favor of shipbuilding very quickly. We felt probably technology is where we need to look at, and at least we've got the breakthrough. We would like to build up on that further.
Okay, got it. Sir, if I squeeze in one more on the shipbuilding side, you discussed in the last call that you would be targeting somewhere around 550 crore for FY21, and you are also expecting INS Vikramaditya order to come in FY22 or maybe in early part of FY23. So just wanted to have your updated guidance on it.
Yeah, the targeted turnover, what we have mentioned still remains, and we are on course. As regards Vikramaditya, no movement has been seen from the Navy as of now. So we are still waiting. We do not know whether they have any change in plans or anything, but still now there's nothing that has been officially communicated. But what we understand is, like we said, latter half of 22 or early 23, the vessel is due for repair. So that was what we had mentioned last time.
Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aditya Mongia from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah.
The first question was on the Atmanirbhar thing. I wanted to check with you. We talked about 11 to 12 vessel types that are now included in this list. I wanted to get a sense from you whether past ordering of these vessels were largely given to domestic vendors or to foreign vendors.
Can you repeat that question? Sorry, it was we didn't get you.
So the question was that the 11 to 12 vessel types that are now included in the list of 101 items as per the Atmanirbhar plan were orders given for these vessels in the past typically going to
आपण
domestic
ज्या
producers or
व्यक्तीशी
what
बोलत
is it?
आहात त्यांनी आपला कॉल होल्डवर ठेवला.
Hello, can you hear us?
Sir, please go ahead.
Yeah. These there are, I think, around 11 to 12 types of vessels which have been included in the 101 list, item list issued by MOD. These vessels are which have either been built or which are currently being built, already built or currently being built, and there are a few vessels which are under tendering stage. So these are vessels that are already sort of, which we all of us are aware that can be built in India.
Okay. So the second question was more on the pipeline of orders for this year beyond the 13,000 crore of orders that we have already highlighted. If you could share more color on the pipeline.
That was what I just mentioned. We are putting in bids for around 10,000 crores, three, four major projects from the Navy, which are all in the bidding stage. While we carry on, looking out for private and commercial orders as well.
Okay. Any large chunky private or commercial orders that are in the fray for this year?
Couple of strong inquiries, and which we are pursuing very closely, but too early stages to indicate anything concrete.
Sure. The last question from my side, you obviously have a cost plus portion of the backlog. Once that cost plus portion gets completely executed, do you see any meaningful change in your overall margin profile?
No, actually in the cost plus we get around 10 to 12% only in cost plus. Actually the margin is more in the fixed price component.
Sure. So what you are suggesting is that the margin profile should be steady or improve once the 2,000 odd crores of cost plus part is taken.
Not really, because now Navy is following a bidding system for all the tenders. Though the margin will be slightly lesser, because here the cost plus part in the IAC it is a nomination order, so the margin is slightly higher than what we normally get. But hereafter, Navy will be doing all the tenders through bidding process. So we have to quote competitively, and naturally the margin will be slightly lesser.
Sure, sir. I have more questions. I'll get back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hiten Boricha from Sequent Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. So my first question is on the capex side. You mentioned that our capex plans is going slow because of migrant labor issues. So any changes in our guidance of 290 crores?
No, we will be achieving around 290 crores because our earlier target was 600 crores. Due to the COVID, we have revised downwards to 290 crores. So that remains.
Okay. And my second question is on the revenue side. So you mentioned that we are facing certain equipment issue due to lockdown and other supply chain issues. So just wanted to understand what kind of revenue are we looking for FY21?
FY21, see, we were always guiding around 12% growth every year.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, we may not be able to grow at that size. What we are trying is at least at par with the last year or near to that. That's what we are targeting now.
Okay. So we will see a flat kind of revenue in this year, right?
Yeah.
That was helpful, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tanmay, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, my question was already answered. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Devesh Chavar from Chavar Tradecom LLP. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. My question is that euro has moved. I thought it has moved up significantly. Will it impact the margins of shipbuilding? How much will?
Can you repeat that question once again?
Yeah. Euro has moved up significantly. So, what will be the impact of that on the shipbuilding margins? Hello.
You're talking about euro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, as we speak, there is no project which has a major implication. But there is a euro component on our anti-submarine warfare corvette project, which is not yet moved into the full-scale procurement phase. So we're just waiting and watching. So hopefully by that time things will improve.
Okay. Sir, and my second question was any updates on Tevma shipyard and how much is it contributing towards revenue in the shipbuilding or ship repair side?
Yeah, Tevma shipyard is right now, you're aware that the NCLT order has been passed and we are the successful resolution applicant. So there was a period of 90 days from the effective date by which we should have paid up and completed the process. But then due to this lockdown and related constraints, there has been a further extension, and right now we are looking at concluding the process by around mid to end September. So you're also probably aware that that facility has been lying idle for a few years now, and so once we take over, we would need a few months for the initial maintenance and making the facility live again. So it will be only after that we would start physical, production in that facility. So it's, I think, 4 to 5 months before, I think, and hopefully if things don't worsen out on the pandemic front, we are actually trying to see whether we can move a team immediately there, but you would appreciate that the current situation doesn't permit that. But anyway, we are aiming to complete this resolution process over the next 1 month and take over and start maintenance so that, the earlier possible we can start production and generating revenues there.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anurag Patil from Roha Asset Managers. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. So, sir, out of this 1950 crore cash, how much are the own funds?
Pardon me? Pardon?
Out of 1950 crore total cash position, what will be the own funds quantum?
The own funds will be around almost 100% is full own fund, but out of that around 1,100 crores is earmarked for the capex and 118 crores is for IPO.
Okay.
Out of 1,950 crores, 118 crores is relating to IPO, the balance IPO proceeds. The remaining is company's own fund, but out of that 1,100 crores has been earmarked for the 2 capex.
Okay, sir. And second question, this 12,500 crore backlog of Indian Navy orders, can you give possible revenue booking of this order over next 3 years? Any ballpark numbers?
Maybe around 2,000, between 2,000 and 3,000 crores every year from Navy.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's all from us.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jonas Bhutta from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for taking up my follow-up question. 2 quick questions. Firstly, have we committed to the Navy on the revised delivery date of the IAC, or that is still open-ended as of now?
As of now, there is around, because basin trial we were planning in April 19. Now that has been shifted to September or mid-October. So similar shift will be there in the delivery period also.
Okay. So you're saying that, sir, almost 6,000 crores of revenues, or thereabouts, almost 5,000 crores of revenues will be booked post-delivery, or post basin trial. Fair assumption?
No, please repeat, Jana.
So basically, today we have an unexecuted order book on the ISC of almost 6,200 crores. By September, October, or maybe even by December, you would have booked maybe about 1,000 crores of revenue on that. So once the basin trials, so there will still be a pending order book of almost 5,000 crores, which will be revenue recognized only post-delivery. That's the fair assumption?
No, post-delivery revenue will be around, total 2 years, it will be around 2,000, 2,500 crores post-delivery. The remaining
2,500 will be booked when, sir?
See, out of 6,000 crores, around 4,000 crores will be booked before delivery, pre-delivery, and post-delivery will be around 1,500 to 2,000.
Okay. So the 4,000 is by September next year, as in September 21.
Yeah. You can ballpark figure around 2,000, 2,300 crores every year from IAC.
Right.
For next 2 years, this year and next year.
And so this year also, despite just doing about 200, 300 crores in the first quarter, you think that you should be able to get to that 2,400 crore number on the IAC that you did last year?
That's what we are trying.
Okay. Sir, the other question I had was the non-IAC, non-ASW part of your shipbuilding order book is about 1,300, 1,400 crores as of now. Whereas the revenue last year was about 450 odd crores or 475 crores on that. How will this 1,400 crores get executed? Over what time frame should we assume, sir? Should we assume the same run rate of 450 crores?
No, this year it will be more than that. This year we are expecting around 800 to 900 crores because 2-3 vessels are scheduled for delivery this year.
Okay, so this year the non-defense shipbuilding will be about 800 to 900 crores.
Yeah, including ASW.
Including ASW.
Including ASW.
So ASW,
you can take out around 150 crores from that to remove ASW.
Okay. And the last one was, sir, maybe you can help me understand. So when we bid for the ASW Corvette order, which was almost 24 months now, what was the level of localization at that point in time in the bid that was assumed? And now, has there been a major change given, what has happened to the currency? So if you can talk in, if at all possible, precise numbers, like, at the time of the bid, you'd assumed what, 30% localization content of the equipment, excluding hull. And now, has there been a material change in that? That will help us understand, the margin trajectory of that business, of that particular project, at least in the near term, sir. And that's my last question.
Jonas, right now as we speak, we do not see much of an impact of Atmanirbhar coming in. But, this is a long drawn project. So if there is specific improvement or, India is able to deliver, because there are certain set of major equipment which even otherwise is, coming through BHEL or BEL and all that. So BEL and all that. So otherwise, I think the major equipment that we're looking at for import on the project is still likely to come from abroad. I don't think, for at least by the time we are moving into this project, there could be a change. But something like that.
Sorry, my question was more from the perspective of the forex movement that we've seen ever since the bid's been open to when you're going to start execution. Have you sort of managed to offset a bit of that negative impact through trying to procure stuff locally, and it was not more from, and it's not from the 101 negative list.
Yeah, exactly. I think we had explained this once, Jonas. What we have done is, we have sort of, working out a package deal with BEL so that, we are able to handle a lot of things through BEL, and we are including, it's a total package that we are trying to work out, and that's under discussion. So that you negate a certain percentage of the risk that is coming from that forex thing that we were talking about, and that is moving ahead. So that's moving ahead. That actions have already been sort of taken on the procurement side.
So the margin profile that you expected on the project remains, right? Like.
Yeah. As of now, it still remains. Yeah.
All right. Fine. Thank you. All the best.
Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Swechha Jain from ANS Wealth. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. I just have one follow-up question regarding the ASW backlog of 6,500 crores. So you mentioned that 150 crores is likely to be received this year. So the balance 6,350, what should we assume, and typically how many years do we expect this revenue to be booked?
Yeah, it is actually the revenue recognition is based on the percentage completion, actually not based on the actual amount received. Because if you see, we have already received 10% of the amount, like 6,300, 10% we have already received on signing the contract. Okay. And another 10% we have already raised the invoice, but we have not received the money so far. But revenue recognition based on the physical progress of work actually completed in the yard. So this year we are expecting a turnover around 150 crores from that project. And from that, next year onwards, around 1,000 crores will be recognized from the ASW project.
Okay. 1,000
so we can see next 3 years you can see the turnover from ASW.
Okay. So I can assume 1,000 crores for next 3 years?
On an average.
On an average. Okay. Thank you, sir. That helps.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ramesh Damani from Ramesh Damani Finance. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, sir. This is just a follow-up question on the ship repair business. Based on what I understand you telling me, that for the next 3 years you can grow this business at about 25%, and after that at 12%. So if you're starting at 600, by the end of the decade, you get 2,500 crores for the ship repair business. And can we assume a 25% EBITDA margin for that business over a long term? Is my understanding correct?
See, we are expecting around the ship repair business to reach around 1,200 crores in next 2 to 3 years.
Correct.
And EBITDA margin is around, you can expect around 25% from ship repair.
Now, after 3 years, we look at year 4 or 5, can you grow that business at about 12%? And if you do that, it should double again to 2,500 crores.
Yeah, but
you're talking about 2,500 crores by when?
By 2030, 10 years.
That is sure.
Yeah. That's what we have in mind.
And you would have a 25% EBITDA margin in that business sustainably.
Yeah, typically ship repair, that's been remaining consistent in that region. So we would.
But what we think is that because once we grow the business, because we'll have to bring some export orders also, we have to enter some AMC MOU repair also with big companies like Maersk and all.
Right.
So we may have to price it competitively.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
When we were talking about the commercial, foreign business, there the margins might not be as much. So that is where, a little bit of averaging out may happen.
Okay.
So that is all that we are trying to say.
And are these contracts denominated in, the international contracts will be denominated in dollars, right, I assume?
So typically international, contracts are all private ship owners. They would pick and choose their yards based on the, both the technical capabilities as well as the commercial competitiveness.
Right.
So whenever we have actually today, as we speak, the challenge we are having is, our dry docks are full and booked for next 6 months always. So we are not able to go and really pitch for commercial business because they always want the vessel to be dried off at short notice.
Right.
So with expanding capacities, we hope to have that, availability of dry dock at short notice, and that is why we want to pitch in for these bigger vessels. The advantage there is, while margins may be slightly lesser than what we are talking about today,
Right.
they're all fast turnaround and, it's just 10-15 days a project. So it's a faster turnaround and it helps build a lot of efficiency and professionalism into the system. And typically, whenever we have tried to do that in earlier times, we have been managing, we've been successful because 5-6 years back when we decided to do, go for a, venture out and seek some foreign business, we were able to get around 13 vessels that year from foreign clients. So CSL, I mean, we can manage, and wherever we have been, tried to compete, we've been able to handle it. So I think that business is available. It's just the fact that we don't have the capacity yet.
Yeah, but
as you mentioned, the currency for export is either euro or dollar.
Euro dollar. So just a quick follow-up. Based on the fact that quarter one was basically no revenue from ship repair, are you still confident that you can do a 550-600 crore turnover this year in ship repair?
Yeah, we are not expecting 600. We are expecting around between 500 and 550.
500 550. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot to all who have participated today. I hope we've been able to clarify the queries that you have raised. As already conveyed by our DF in the opening remarks, we have had the challenges related to the lockdown and loss of production that were there. And as you would all appreciate, although we started the operations in early May, ramping up takes time, and then by the time you're able to generate the momentum, it is, there is a consequential effect as well. But having said that, Cochin is still comparatively better off compared to a lot of other places in terms of this pandemic situation. Although the numbers in Kerala and Cochin as well are going up in recent weeks. We are only hoping that, we don't end up in too much of a problem, and if we can actually continue to pick up momentum. Internally also we have made certain adjustments. We have started shift working arrangements, trying to generate more productive hours. So our efforts will continue, and hopefully we should be able to, like DF was mentioning, sustain the levels. We are trying to, reach the levels what we achieved last year at least. So hopefully we should be there, and thanks for all the support and thanks for participating.